since I really spawned in from like the fourth grade, I can never really say I had a good relationship with my parents. I always felt this almost disconnect between me and them. And I remember this one day back in 2022 where I was sat there in my room right here on my desk playing Minecraft as usual because that's for context that's basically all I did during COVID. I just sat there on my desk so fried, honestly, that I would be on a Discord call playing these games and then scrolling on YouTube Shorts while I was playing them because I was just so bored out of my mind. Anyways, I was sat there on my desk that day and I was on this Discord call with my friends, but as I'm just like vibing with them and just basically just shouting and having fun, I hear my dad downstairs calling me over. So I tell my friends, okay, 1 second, I gotta go. My dad just calling me. But as I open my door to my room downstairs, I already know I'm about to get flamed because as I walk down into the stairs, I see my dad and my mom sat there on the couch and they're both staring at me, almost looking at this with this disappointed, confused look. They start asking me this shit like, oh, what were you doing all day, Tharv? Why didn't you come down for lunch today? Did you do anything productive? Did you study? What did you do all day? And as I'm starting to get questioned, I know I have no defense for what they're saying. So I started saying stuff like, "Oh no, I'll study tomorrow. It's okay, whatever. I need to go back upstairs. I'm just playing this game." And as soon as I say that, my parents just start shouting and yelling, and I get into this big argument with them that honestly I've had almost every single day all summer. But as I'm walking back upstairs, as the argument tends to fizzle out, I hear my dad call upstairs, "Why don't you do anything productive?" And I know as I'm walking upstairs that this isn't going to be the last time we argue like this. And so I'm sat there in my room again, semi-depressed, skinny fat 13-year-old, and I can't even get along with my parents at that point, bro. And I tell you this story because I remember what it was like to never feel connected, to feel embraced by my parents. And of course, I was never like abused or any of that shit, but I never really felt like up until a few years ago what it's like to have a good relationship with my parents. And let's just imagine what their POV is for a second because we can sit here and complain and be all basically just annoyed at our parents. And that's probably what you're like nowadays. And this is what I was like too. But let's just imagine what our parents see when they look at us. They see their kids sat there all day in our chair on their games, on Discord or whatever the hell they call it. Whatever we do, all they see is just us being this fat, ignorant, ungrateful little shit that we basically are, right? And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad, but think about it. They've seen us play 1,000 hours of these games. They've seen us for thousands of hours just doom scrolling, yelling at them, not listening to what they say. And so, of course, their self opinion of us is gonna be a little bit shit, right? And I say this because, let's be honest, they won't ever tell you this. Your parents are never gonna come up to you and say, "Oh yeah, I'm honestly pretty disappointed in you. You didn't do anything productive today." But I promise you, they do think this. I was sat there with my mom just a few days back, and randomly, almost out of nowhere, she just said something that honestly just made me feel like a piece of shit. She said, "Oh yeah, back when you were during like the lockdown, when you were just sat there all day, I would pray to God every single day that you'd snap out of this rut, that you'd finally stop being this little fat ass." And of course, she didn't say that word for word, but I feel so much guilt that for years, I would just sat there every single day complaining, neglecting, shouting at my parents, all because of this website that gave me these little dopamine hits. And not only that, but I would defend those sites that are genuinely ruining my relationship with my parents. And so if you can relate to what I'm saying here, just imagine what it would be like if you actually had a good relationship with your parents. Imagine what it would be like for them to believe in you. Imagine what it would be like that you wouldn't be having these shitty arguments every single day that sap your energy. Imagine what it would be like if they actually saw you as this confident, as this productive kid, if they actually felt proud of you, you'd make faster progress towards your goals. Because I'm telling you, when you improve this relationship with your parents, every part of your life improves. And I'm not saying this to exaggerate. I know what it's like to be in either end, to be in this argumentative state every single day and to now have a good relationship. I'm telling you, it's almost like night and day. It's so much more fulfilling when you have a good relationship. Because one of the big complaints that I used to have and that all my friends nowadays also have is our parents are going to be like, oh, no, you can't lift. No, you can't do that thing. No, you can't go outside with your friends. Oh, and I remember every single day I'd be so pissed off that, for example, when I asked my parents, hey, can I go lift? Can I go to the gym now? I want to get jacked. They'd always just say no and always look at me with this like childish, like, oh yeah, of course, whatever kind of expression. But I honestly don't complain. I honestly kind of agree with what they thought at that moment. Think about it. Your parents don't let you lift. Of course they don't. They've literally seen you play and yell and scream for thousands of hours at them and genuinely waste away thousands of hours of your life. So when you tell them, oh yeah, mom, I want to go get jacked, let me go lift. Of course they don't fucking believe in you. So if you're actually like not brain dead like 90% of our generation and you want to improve this relationship, then here are the two specific steps that I did to go from the shitty relationship to actually improving it. And there's only two steps, and the first one was I started gratitude journaling. And I know this is going to sound kind of cringe, and you're going to think, your brain's just going to turn off, and you're going to go scroll on the sidebar for some extra dopamine. But just hear me out, bro. Gratitude journaling has by far been the most overpowered way to improve this relationship. Because, hear me out, gratitude journaling is simply where you just take a piece of paper and you just write down like one or two things every day that you're grateful for your parents. And that sounds kind of just bullshit. And you're like, wait, that isn't going to do anything. What the hell? But just think about it. If your mom was to suddenly walk into your room and be like kind of annoyed, just like, oh, Atharv, stop wasting time. Go study now. If you did gratitude journaling earlier in the day, I guarantee you would be less likely to just lash out at them and to get into an argument. Think about it. If you implant these positive thoughts about your parents through gratitude journaling, trust me when I say this, you'll just be they'll start picking up this energy that you're going to start giving to them when you're more grateful to them. You're going to stop being this semi-depressed, like sulky little kid, right? You're going to start genuinely having this better relationship with them because you're forcefully adding these thoughts that will improve this relationship. And not only that, I'm not joking when I say this. When you start gratitude journaling, your entire life still improves at the same time. Because think about it. You struggle. One of the biggest struggles you probably have is you know the good habits you want to do, but you just don't fucking do them because you don't have the motivation. Of course you don't have the motivation. Bro, I'll be serious right now. Of course you feel lethargic and you don't feel motivated to do the good habits when you haven't had a single grateful thought in 5 years. Of course you feel like you need to escape into this other reality, into games, into scrolling, into junk food, when you don't have this habit of being grateful. Because when you improve your mental health through these habits, trust me, all of your life just gets better, bro. But you might have these objections, right? Where you might say these things like, oh, but my parents already know I'm grateful. Why would I need to do that again? But I'm going to be honest when I say this. If you haven't consciously worked on improving this relationship, your relationship with them is still at like a 3 out of 10 level. I'm not joking when I say it. When you improve and you actually put an effort to improve your relationship, you're going to realize, holy shit, this is what I've been missing out on. Because, and I'll give you a story to go with this. When you don't do any of the good habits, when you're not grateful for your parents, again, they won't tell you this, but they're going to respect you less. But when you do this habit, when you start doing this consistently and you be grateful, your life just gets better because now all of a sudden they pick up on this little energy and they're going to be like, oh shit, Atharv's suddenly more of a nice kid. Okay, let's go do something fun for him. Not only that, but your parents might say something like, no, but you might think that, oh no, My parents are going to think it's weird if I gratitude journal, if I tell them, oh yeah, I'm grateful for you, mom. But no, they wouldn't think it's weird. They would actually love it. I remember the first time I did this, where I'd been gratitude journaling for a few weeks, and I decided that I was going to make this wholesome little piece of paper that would have a bunch of these things written on that I'd give to my dad. It would be like, oh yeah, I'm grateful, dad, for this. And it's like this big list of gratitude that I was going to give to my dad. But I'll be honest, I was a bit of a pussy, so instead of just going up to him and actually giving it to him, I instead had this plan where, okay, I'm going to take this piece of paper, put it on his desk, and then, wait, let me just make sure I have storage, holy shit. Yep, okay. I had this piece of paper written down with all of these different things I was grateful for my dad. And my plan was I would just run into my dad's room, put it on his desk, then go downstairs and quickly bike to school, so by the time he figures out what the note is, I'll be out of sight, so he won't confront me about it. But here's the thing. My dad's room is right above the garage. And so as I went to the garage to get my bike, I hear my dad's window open. And I just saw my dad telling me like, oh yeah, Tharf, thank you for this note, man. I really appreciate it. And I know for a fact that when I looked at his face and I saw that almost happy, like wholesome, like expression on his face, that note probably made his day. So why? So the reason I tell you the story is we're so good and we're so comfortable at basically arguing and being a little shit to our parents, but it's so unnatural for us to be grateful when it should be the other way around. We should be able to just tell our parents, yeah, thank you, I'm grateful for you for this. But because you don't, of course your relationship isn't as good as it should be. Right? So that's the second part. And again, if you just do that one habit, I promise you, your relationship with your parents will skyrocket. And I'm not going to go over any big other step that you need to do because, I'll be honest, if you just do that one habit and you remain grateful and you just do gratitude journaling consistently, your life will not be the same in literally just a week. So if you want more advice from somebody that actually relates for you and not these random shitty influencers telling you the 5 hacks to improve your life and all this bullshit, right? If you want somebody's advice that can actually relate to you, then here's what I want. In the description of this video, I have a new Discord server open where I'm going to let in just a handful of guys with similar interests from somebody who's actually gone through every single thing you have. And if you want some advice from somebody who can relate to you like me on things like fat loss and getting straight A's, on improving your relationship with your parents, on just getting ahead as a teen, then I promise you, join that server and you'll be a great fit. As always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.